It's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is supposed to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you and yours. So subscribe and hit the bell icon right now. So in today's episode, we're discussing the pros and cons of using dating apps with mostly sexuals on them when you're asexual. So stay tuned for that. If you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives book on Amazon, which talks about love, life, and sex from an asexual viewpoint. So go and grab a copy of that. Yes, dating apps. Which ones am I on? So I'm currently using Facebook Dating and Badoo. Now, Facebook Dating is just within Facebook itself. It's only available by mobile. You can't access it on desktop or laptop. And it's a little heart symbol in the menu, and you click through that, and that's how you join. Now, Facebook Dating has progressed in the time I've been on there, and it's now currently got 3 tabs. One is potential matches, so it's basically likes. So I should say it's got 3 tabs, and it's also got a place for you to swipe. So the 3 actual tabs are likes, the people that have liked you, and you go on that tab if you want to see what they are, see what they're like, look at their profile. You either have to cross them out, in which case you don't want to match with them, or like them back to get a match, basically, or swipe right, I think it is, to get a match. So that's your likes tab, and then you've got a friends tab, which is a lot of people to sift through to see if you want to be friends with anyone. And then you've got an actual matches tab, which are the people that you've liked who've liked you back, or vice versa. And then on your main screen, you've got the people that you can swipe through to see if you like any of them. So you've got your potential matches in the middle of the screen, if you like. You've also got a menu down below, which you can access to like people via their Instagram. So you can browse Instagram posts and like people based on their Instagram profile. You can like people based on things you have in common with them. So common interests, maybe groups you share and things like that as well. You can do things like secret crush, which I've never done before. And so there's lots you can do with Facebook dating. You can message the person, you can video call within it. Although I found sometimes the video calling within Facebook Messenger is a bit sketchy. Like sometimes it just doesn't work, and you can audio call someone. But they can write down in their profile, what they're looking for. Are they looking for friendship, chatting, relationship, or something casual? Basically, those are the 4 things. And it usually takes the information from Facebook itself. So it will take the person's photographs from Facebook. I believe at least one of them is usually from Facebook, but they can upload others. Or they might be able to get rid of the whole lot from Facebook and completely turn them in, upload other ones. But usually one at least would be from Facebook. Usually it automatically takes the ones from Facebook, but you can add others to it. And so this is really good. I find it helpful, the fact that it's on the phone within Facebook dating itself. Thanks for thumbs up. And that it's quick and easy access to it by phone. I say by phone because it is only by phone. So that's the difficulty, that if you want to go on a laptop or a desktop with it, it's not going to be there. Also, for some reason, my profile has currently disappeared in terms of me accessing it. It's not disappeared to other people viewing me on Facebook. It's disappeared to me accessing it myself to make any changes. So I think I'm probably going to have to reboot my phone, switch my phone off, switch it back on. Hopefully that will update it, because since they've had an actual friendship tab there, this is when it's happened. And sometimes if Facebook dating does updates, you need to actually turn your phone off and then, re-switch it back on to reboot it, as it were, reset it. So Facebook dating I do like because particularly I get quite a lot of Indian guys I can message on there, a lot of foreign guys, better for me personally than Badoo in that way. And it's often a good option for me to look through the common interests and find things like Bollywood music and Bollywood movies in common and things like this. So it's easier for me to find guys I'm interested in romantically like that. So that's good. If you don't want to carry on the conversation with someone on Facebook dating, you just press the delete conversation button and that deactivates the conversation and it basically disappears into your deactivated conversations. But you can also block a person in there as well so they can never have access to you ever again while ever you've got that profile. Obviously, if you decide to delete your profile, they could come back in another on your other profile because they'll still be on Facebook dating and you won't have blocked them on the new profile. Or they could create a new account. I have had guys that have come back and created new accounts on there and I recognize them from before. So so those are some of the real advantages. You know, it's easy to swipe, easy to see what they're interested in, can see their location within Facebook dating itself. There is friendship because obviously a lot of asexuals like friendship rather than a relationship. However, the friends tab does not really mean the friends tab. Most people who like people through the friendship tab are actually interested in having a relationship with them. They're not just looking for friends. Even if they like you as a friend, match with you as a friend, they don't really want just friendship, in my experience and opinion. Also, even if you say you like someone as a friend, they match back with you, they'll usually say, "Oh, you match with me first." Like if I ask them like why what attracted you to my profile? Why did you match with me? Or why did you like me? They're like, "Well, you like me first." But just because you like someone first doesn't mean to say they have to like you back. And it's still not a very good reason. And a lot of people on Facebook dating, they still don't understand asexuality, even when you explain it to them. You know, they find it hard to understand that I want a relationship permanently, forever, with someone, a guy, without sex. They find that really difficult. And this is the same I found with Badoo.com that I'm on, Badoo dating app. And it's a general problematic thing for asexuals who don't want sex. Right? They do not understand what you want. Like I get guys going, "So what do you want?" I'm like, I specifically say in my bio what I want. So you're just looking for a friend? No. So you're looking for a relationship then? Yes, but not the conventional type, not one with sex in it. So you're just looking for a friend? Fine, we'll just be friends. Like I'll message you every day and I'll be in your inbox all the time. So basically, they want to act like a boyfriend, but still be just your friends. So they can speak to other women and get a relationship with someone else, but have emotional connection with you because they don't understand how you can have a relationship without sex. They think that's just a friendship, yet they're willing to act more like uh someone who's connected to you deeply than just an ordinary friend would. So it gets very confusing, you know, and you have to understand that they don't understand what you're looking for. They don't understand that I want a relationship without sex, without marriage, without kids, and without living together. They can't comprehend that. It's like, how is that possible to have a relationship like that? Because ideally, I want the guy to live near me, but not with me. So I get all the benefits of being in a relationship without the stress and hassle of living with a person. And without tying myself down to marriage or kids and without having sex. I'm not interested in those things. Right. And when I was in a long term relationship, the last long term relationship I was in, I wasn't married to the person, the guy. I was having sex with him, but we didn't live together. Because I didn't realize I was asexual back then. That's 2011, so I haven't had sex for like 12 years. About 12 years. It'll be 12 years. I said in a previous video it's like 12 and a half years, but it'll be 12 years actually in October this year because we're in 2023 now. So yeah, I think if my maths is correct, I think I got it wrong before. So yeah, I don't want that toleration, and they don't understand. They're like, "Well, what do you want?" It's like, "Well, what do I say I want in my bio?" "Well, they say you want a relationship with an honest, loyal, committed person." I'm like, "Yes." And so it's very difficult, and I'm having similar problems on Badoo in the fact they don't understand what I'm looking for. And the guys that I've said we're not suitable, they still sometimes come after me. And the guys on Badoo, a lot of them are looking for marriage. A lot of them smoke. I'm not interested in either of those. A lot of them want, well, it's more like they want, I said marriage, didn't I? But what I meant to say is most of them want kids actually. But kids tend to go with marriage. But yeah, so on their profile they say, I want kids someday, and a lot of them are smokers. Like, it's no good. For me, I've had guys going, yeah, but I don't want that for ages. I'm like, but I want a serious long-term life partner commitment relationship. That means I'm not going to get into a relationship with someone who wants kids, knowing full well I never want that, and get emotionally attached to them, you know? So you've got to understand that what people say and what's in their bio can contradict them. And you've got to make sure that what they're telling you is in keeping with their actual bio. Don't allow them to try and distort your mind, and go, oh, but I don't want kids. It's like, well, clearly you do, because it's in your profile. You're just lying. One way or the other, you're just lying. But they just don't understand the fact that I want a relationship without sex. They think it's just a friendship. I don't kiss my friends. I don't sit there snogging my friends. It doesn't happen. And so if we move on to Badoo, Badoo.com's got an actual sexual orientation option of asexuality, which is amazing, which Facebook dating doesn't have. And I really like that. But so far on Badoo, I've only found 5 asexuals. Guys, this is because I'm not interested in women. 2 of them, foreign guys, bearded, both smoke. One is actually in my city, but it's no good for me because I can't be with a smoker, and I like clean-shaven guys. Another guy was polyamorous. Another person was demisexual. And there was another one that said he was asexual, but I don't think he is. Because, or if he is, he's displaying very sexual behavior. Because he barely talked to me. I tried to gauge in conversation with him and barely talked to me. And then all he did was, like, when he hadn't spoke to me very much and, like, for 1 or 2 days hadn't talked to me at all, he then decides, oh, can you come to basically where I live and see me? Like, today, like, what are you doing today? Can you come up and see me? When I don't know anything about him. He's a complete stranger. He's made no proper effort to engage in conversation with me, tell me anything about himself. And when I asked him, where do you fall on the asexual spectrum? He went silent. So I think he's lying, or he's on the much more section of the asexual spectrum. But in any case, he's not a good guy if that's the way he is, and expecting me to just go up there. They assume as well, because I'm an older girl, that I drive and that I'm just going to go and travel to see them. They assume I'm going to go and travel to see them on Facebook dating and Badoo, and that's a really big mistake they make, because I don't believe that any woman should go round traveling to the guy. I believe the guy should come to the woman. I'm not saying it can never happen. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen in the future because of equality and stuff. But I personally would never, ever, if I was a guy, which I'm not, I would never expect a woman to go all that way, especially on a first date, for example, right? I would go to the woman, if I was a guy. I'm not a guy, I'm not interested in women. But you know what I mean? The fact they can't put any time, energy, and effort into actually seeing a woman leaves a huge red flag, and it's just not worth bothering about. There'll be plenty of guys that will travel to see the right person if they're really keen on them. I get some guys go, oh, I live in London, it's too far for me to come Exeter. It's like, really? I don't say this to them. In the end, I just give up. But sometimes I say it to them. But I'm like, sometimes I'm like, it's only 3.5 hours on the train. To some guys, it's like, oh my God, I can't do that. It's too tiring. It's too far. Which I just think is a very weak guy, but there you go. But it's okay if they say to me, look, I'm looking for someone in my city, to be honest with you. That's better. But when a guy's just moaning about the fact it's too far to come, I'm just like, grow a pair, I'm like, it's not that difficult to get on a train, spend 3.5 hours on a train to Exeter and back, and 3.5 hours there, 3.5 hours back. I've done it before myself, these are guys in their early 20s and they're like, oh, I can't do it. It's so hard. It's like, for goodness sake, grow some strength. So, but it's different if they want someone specifically in their city and they admit that. It's like, it's better. It's like, I'd rather they didn't come and see me if they're never intending to be in a relationship or do anything serious with me and just use me. That's no good. So going back to Badoo, you've got the encounters button, basically the encounters thing you can press and you can flick through different people. That's where you see who you like and who you don't like. Then you've also got people who have liked you, but you can't see that unless you pay for premium. People who've visited your profile, which is very interesting. And so you can look through all the visitors. You don't have to have premium for that. And also people nearby. That's a very good feature. But the only problem is today, when I was doing people nearby, it came up with some women. And I'm like thinking, why is it coming up with women? My settings are filtered to men. But also I have my settings or had my settings to cut out smokers. But again, the smokers just keep coming back. It's almost like I change my settings and then it resets it to not being on there. So that's a really annoying thing with Badoo. And I came across a guy who is on Badoo that I liked yesterday, and he's a submissive guy. I'm not into BDSM, but I'm not submissive girl, you know. I'm more the opposite of that. So it's kind of really hard for me because I kind of prefer guys with some feminine traits sometimes. I don't like being told what to do by a guy. I can't stand it. And so if a guy's got some feminine traits, if he likes doing housework, cooking, cleaning, if he's more submissive, sometimes that's a really good thing for me. But then it can be going too far because it can be like BDSM realm, and I'm just not interested in BDSM stuff, you know? So it's kind of like really hard for me sometimes because sometimes I think I'd be more suited to a submissive guy. And other times I'm just like, no, it's going to be too much responsibility that because I do like more equality. But I guess I like guys with some feminine traits who are more submissive than dominant. I don't like dominant guys at all. I don't like a guy telling me what to do. Like when I was on Facebook dating, well, I am on Facebook dating. I was talking to a guy, was it the day before last, and he's like, "Oh, he goes barbecue." I like, "What? You're having a barbecue?" He's like, "No, you can cook me a barbecue." And it's like he's telling me what to do when he's just met me. It's like, why would I want to be subservient to a guy and cook for him? It's like my worst thing. I would not want to do that. But I do know, like, from talking to a guy on Badoo who actually seems a nice person, he said about the fact that he loves cooking, and you know he would do cooking and washing up for a woman and stuff like that. You know, because he's a submissive guy, and it takes a lot of guts when you're a guy to admit you're submissive. I do know other submissive guys, and you know they like doing housework and cleaning and stuff. So from my point of view, the fact I hate that would go quite well together. But the guy on Badoo, he still he's okay with me being asexual, but he still likes some ideally like some sexual act stuff, you know, even if it's not like sexual intercourse. And it's like, and he's like, "Oh, so when you say you don't like sex, does that mean any sex?" And this is a difficulty I have. I have to kind of repeat myself saying I don't like any type of sex. You know, when I say I don't like sex, I'm not interested in oral sex, anal sex, or vaginal, penal sex. I'm just not interested in that. And so some guys just don't get that. They think it means that I can do other forms of sex for them or with them. And so that's really difficult. And so, you know, it kind of like on the one hand, they may be able to accept you maybe possibly as an asexual without sex, but it's without sex in their mind of sexual intercourse as long as you do other things for them. And I'm just not interested, and that doesn't make me comfortable. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's a really difficult thing being asexual and sex repulsed. It's difficult because people don't understand asexuality, even though on Badoo there's an asexual category. People don't get it. A lot of guys don't read your bio, they just ignore it. And then even when they've read the bio, they still either forget it or ignore it, or they pretend they've read it and they haven't. And they don't understand how a relationship works outside of the realm of normal conditioned society thinking, where you know they used to like sex, marriage, kids, live in that type of live together lifestyle. And it's very difficult for a lot of guys to comprehend a different type of lifestyle, a different type of relationship. A lot of guys still expect women to be like a housewife type of person. I'm just not that type of person. And a lot, you know, you don't know how many guys are lying as well. A lot of them do lie. There's guys on Badoo that say they're a model and actor. I don't know how many of those are real and how many of those are just fake and they're just saying it to attract women. And so that proves really difficult. Some people on Badoo, they're on there and then they just disappear quickly. so you never know if they're genuine or fake. Badoo has an option to video call, but I've never used it yet. I haven't had any video dates on there yet. And the difficulty with, for example, a submissive guy, which I think there's quite a lot of nice qualities about that particular guy I was talking about, is obviously they tend to wait for you to make the move all the time, whereas I do like the guy to like continue the conversation, keep the conversation going, ask me questions about myself more and stuff like that. So that proves a harder point, but I think the benefit of dating apps as well is you get to meet lots of different and interesting people. You get to talk to people from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, different interests. You can have common interests with some of them. You can find it's a really small world as well. So one of the things that was really weird, freaky even, on Badoo.com, I had liked a guy on Badoo.com and I'd matched with him before I went out clubbing at the weekend. And when I went out clubbing at the weekend, you might remember last weekend that I ended up kissing a guy who's like a 22-year-old Pakistani guy when I went out Friday night to Saturday. Friday night clubbing went into Saturday morning, and I went clubbing Saturday night through to Sunday morning. And ended up kissing an older Pakistani guy, and the older Pakistani guy ended up being friends with the younger Pakistani guy, and the younger Pakistani guy had stood me up. So I ended up dancing and kissing the older Pakistani guy the second night. Now, what's really freaky is when I looked at my Badoo app after that on Monday, there was a guy in Badoo, sorry, not Facebook, Badoo.com, who I said I'd matched with before I went clubbing. And he was the best friend of the 22-year-old Pakistani guy that I was kissing on Friday to Saturday. And he shook my hand in person because he was a guy with the younger Pakistani guy. And so I'd already liked his friend, his best friend, before I met him at the club. And then his best friend on Badoo was interested in me meeting him. But he just really wanted to hook up. At least he was honest. He wasn't. I said, "Oh, your friend's no good for me." Like, he was asking me why. So I gave him a list of reasons why. He stood me up. He lied to me. He didn't respond to my messages. All this is really bad. I could do better. He's like, "How?" I'm like, "Well, even most of my friends are guys, and even they're better. They don't lie. They're honest." And so he said, "Oh, well, are you interested in me? I could date you. Forget about him. Like, forget about other people." I'm like, "What do you mean by date?" He goes, "Oh, I can come over to your place and can kiss and hug you that." He goes, "I can't do it in public because my friends all know, people all know me." I'm like, "Well, no, definitely not." I said, "I want a guy who's proud to be seen with me in public. That's one of the things I didn't like about your friend." And the older friend was much better. His older friend, his friend's older friend was much better than him in that respect. So I could have ended up dating his other friend. I could have ended up dating all three of them, but I didn't. I've unmatched with him now. But he's asking me some weird questions, asking me about like LGBT and keep pushing me. So I don't know if he's LGBT himself or if he's just thinking because I'm asexual, I'll be better to date LGBT people. And I try to explain, well, if you want to have sex with guys, use a Tammy app because that's for LGBT. But I deleted it because it was too sexual for me. And that's what I found with the Tammy app, Taime. It's supposed to be LGBT plus friendly, but they all want sex there. They want to hook up. And it's worse than Badoo and Facebook dating. There's guys on there that have just got dick pics and they allow it. And they're like, "Oh, you can just reveal the pics." And when I revealed the pics of one guy, I didn't expect it to have that. I thought it was just him in different scenarios because my mind doesn't think sexually. And it just disgusted me. I thought I need to get off here. It's far too sexual and disgusting. And that's the difference. Asexuals are sexual orientations based on a lack of sexual attraction. Whereas sexuals, even if they're LGBT, are still based on who they're sexually attracted to. Sexuals are still sexually attracted, even if it's bisexual, pansexual, homosexual, heterosexual, they're all sexually attracted people. As asexuals, the whole point of being asexual is our sexual orientation is based on lack of sexual attraction. So we don't get the need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse. There's no innate need or desire there. Yes, there's grey asexuals who do experience sexual attraction only under limited, rare, or specific circumstances or experience it, but not enough to want to act on it. But it's not the usual sexual attraction, and a lot of them can live without it. It's not a need, whereas with sexuals, it's a need. They need it all the time. And, you know, I get, you know, the guy on Badoo who was the younger guy's best friend, who I shook hands with and didn't realize we'd already matched on the dating app. He's like, everyone needs sex. Everyone likes sex. It's like, they don't. I was trying to explain to him and educate him. They don't. I do not want sex. I do not get the need for it, urge or want for it. The older guy, when I kissed him, he's like, "Oh, you're good at controlling yourself." I'm like, "There's nothing to control." So sexuals have to control those urges if they're gonna kiss without sex. They have to hold themselves back. They have to control those urges. They control the needs, wants, and desires. An asexual person doesn't have to do that. I don't do that. I've got absolutely nothing to control. And in that way, I'm much more freer than sexuals because I can kiss a guy for hours and I never want sex with him. I can just get the pure pleasure of kissing or even stroking on the arms and hair and stuff like that. So it's pure pleasure without sex, without the genitalia stuff, right? But heterosexuals and other sexuals just don't understand that. They don't understand how you can have pleasure of the body or elements of the body, doesn't have to be any genital or sexual parts, without having sex. They don't get it. But they are actually missing out because, you know, you can have a very sensual experience that can last for hours, whereas sex just could last for like 10 minutes or 5 minutes or less. You know what I'm saying? So they're actually really missing out big time. But they can't understand this. There really needs to be so much more education about this stuff. You know, I try to educate as much as possible because they just don't get it. Their mind is just one track genitalia, stick it in, release, stick it in. And it's just so bad. It's like, it's boring, even if you are having sex, because I have had good sex and bad sex in the past. Not for years I haven't had sex, and I don't want to get 'em, but the guys that just stick it in, it's so bad, the sex. It's like, for God's sake, this is crap. You know, women will have affairs or leave you over crap sex if they're not asexual a lot of the time. You know, they'll get fed up with it in the end or bored and want to watch TV and do other things. You know, and you won't get your sex. You'll be like, why is my woman not giving me sex? It's like, because you're crap at it, mate. You're crap. You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna have sex, at least learn the skills of it and do it properly. You know what I mean? It should be a sensual, loving experience where you put the woman's needs first to get the best out of it, usually. Not these guys that stick it in and just like want to release their genital whatever fluids, which is very disgusting to say, but there you go. So the people on dating sites, they don't really understand how to have good sex in the first place, and they don't understand how you can have a good, solid, quality relationship without sex because they're so sex driven. They don't understand about a relationship. A lot of them are looking to hook up, they're looking to chat and to date. They're not actually looking for a solid foundation of real, true friendship to base a proper relationship on. And when I'm talking about like with guys like, so are you looking for a relationship? And they've just put dating in their profile. A lot of the time they're not. You know, it's like, and there was a guy on Facebook dating who liked me back yesterday, and he said in his profile, I'm looking for a partner. Right? And then he said to me, "Oh, you're just looking for a boyfriend. That's it. So we'd only be suitable to be friends." And I'm thinking, I'm looking for a life partner, not a boyfriend. But a life partner to me is not someone who has sex with me, not someone who wants marriage or kids for me, and not someone who lives with me. It's someone who's committed to me being with me forever, going the distance, like having like goals together, dreams together, ambitions together for ourselves as individuals and to grow as a team. It's all about having a relationship. A relationship, marriage, just because someone's married doesn't mean to say it's a good relationship. Just because someone has kids doesn't mean to say it's a fulfilling relationship. These are all conditioned stereotypes from birth, right? This is not what has to make a relationship up. Only people that should be defining a relationship are the people that are in that relationship. It doesn't have to be that you're married to the person to be with that person forever and the rest of your life. You don't have to have kids to be with someone the rest of your life. You don't have to live with someone to be with them for the rest of your life. There are people in the UK, especially, who have what you call living apart together relationships. And this is true for heterosexuals. It doesn't just apply to people who are asexual, it applies to heterosexuals, you know? And these are people that don't live with each other. They choose to live separately because it's a better lifestyle for them. They come together regularly. to see each other, spend time with each other, and be with each other. You know, you can have a forever relationship like that. There are people that do that. I've known people where, even when I worked as a fit bedroom specialist, they came into my work both looking for furniture for each other's places. You know, so we need to redefine relationships as being what the people who are involved intend them to be, not what society conditions you to believe. But the problem is with dating apps that most of the people in dating apps live an unconscious life. They're just driven by their genitalia, and all they're thinking of is sex, marriage, kids, and chatting. They're not actually thinking about having a serious, committed relationship and what that involves. You know, and even when I talk to a quality guy, like there was a guy on Facebook dating who I matched with, and he's like, "What do you like about my profile?" So I told him that I liked his look and that I liked the fact he was into business and seemed to be intelligent and stuff like that. And he seemed to like be more of a valuable guy in that way, but then he didn't even respond, you know? I prefer, if a guy's not interested in someone who's asexual, don't match back with me. But you get people who match back with you, even if you don't want sex, because they haven't looked at your bio, they've just liked you on your photograph. They haven't properly understood your bio. They've took no notice of your bio, or they've read it, but they've read it after they've actually already approached you. You know, so all these things are pretty rubbish, right? And it's so difficult to get a date as an asexual person and it be something that would lead to a relationship. Most of my experience of dating is the guys just want to hook up, usually for kissing, in my case, because I like kissing, not sex, and they just want to hook up with me for kissing. You know, and it's like, okay, but I don't want that. You know that I kiss guys in clubs, but that's usually because I can stay detached from them. But when I'm on dating apps, it's like I'm not on a dating app just to look for hooking up with a guy, you know? So I can go to clubs for that and just kiss in the moment in public where it's safer for me. You know, there's no way I want a guy back to my home, and they expect to come back to your home, a lot of them. And it's like, no, I'm not interested in that, you know? And being an older girl, I do actually get a lot of younger guys interested in me on both Badoo and Facebook dating. So it is very good for that. If you're an older girl that likes younger guys, it's really good for finding guys, or guys finding you who are interested in a relationship with an older girl. But a lot of the time, it's not actually a relationship they want. It's a hookup scenario, a hookup relationship. It's not an actual genuine love relationship. And always bear in mind, when a guy says he loves you straight away without knowing you, that's a red flag. I had that day before yesterday, I think it was. The guy goes, "I love you, I love you, I love you, Sandra." La, la, la. Like, these are the first messages. This is called love bombing. And they do it to lower your guard, to make you obsessed with them, to make you excessively think about them, and to make you feel like you're wanted and needed and loved straight away, so that they can get whatever they want out of you and manipulate you, right? So I just like, after a few more messages from this guy, I just deactivated the conversation, which basically deleted it. So you've got to watch. There's a lot of unhealthy guys on these apps, a lot of guys that are narcissistic, a lot of guys that are abusive or manipulative, a lot of guys that are users. These are the downsides. But the upsides is you can have some conversations with some really different people, really nice people. And you can see patterns of behavior as well some of the time, which is always a good thing to be able to spot, to keep you safe and to further your knowledge. And it's interesting to see how many things you have in common. Like with an asexual person, we can sometimes like different hobbies and interests, and it's interesting to see how many of those we have in common with sexuals, for example. In Badoo, it gives you the ability to have a lot more information about the person, including if they want kids or not. That's not usually available in Facebook dating unless they change that. So, you could be talking to people who all want kids later on, but you never know that. And therefore, you could be wasting your time if you never want kids, like I never want kids. And so that can be a difficult thing. But always remember, as an asexual person, you're completely valid. You don't have to have sex. You don't have to have a conventional relationship. Sometimes it is tiring being on these dating apps as an asexual. It's like you're getting nowhere. You're either getting no one like you who actually wants the same type of relationship as you, or you're getting loads of likes, but none of them really come to fruition or go anywhere because they're actually not suitable for you. And there is a lack of asexuals on Badoo from what I can tell, and there's no way to filter out everyone, so I can just speak to the asexuals. And like I said, the only asexual I've been in contact with recently, he was just clearly not a good guy, like asking me out of the blue to go straight up to see him. It's just disgusting. I think that, these guys have a sense of entitlement, and this is really bad. No one owes you sex. No one owes you a trip. No one owes you a housework or cooking or cleaning. If someone wants to do that because they're submissive, for example, and likes doing that and offers to do that, that's different. But these guys come up to me like in Messenger, just like, "Oh, will you do this for me? Will you do that for me?" It's like, "No, I won't do that for you. I'm not interested. I'm not a submissive girl. I'm not submissive." I don't know how many more times I have to say it, but people should guess that from my bio. I know what I want. I'm very strict about what I want. And so they should know that I'm not a pushover. I'm not submissive. I'm not don't like being told what to do. I'm unconventional. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's really hard. But I think the benefits is like Badoo is an actual app you can have on your phone, but there is a desktop version, and Facebook Dating is an app you can have on your phone. I think it's both worth giving them a go, but just remember, usually they'll want sex. If you're an asexual, demisexual, and you just need a strong connection with someone first, you might find it beneficial if you can video call them first, get to know them through Messenger. But if they're just looking for hookups, a lot of the time they don't want to engage in conversation. They don't want to find out much about you because they're not that bothered about you. All they want is the sex. And so that is really disappointing. And it's hard not to get attached to someone if they are messaging you a lot. So you've got pros and cons of someone messaging you a lot and not messaging you a lot. But I think it's nice, so nice to talk to people from different backgrounds. Like the guys I talk to a lot of the time, they're studying different topics. Some of them are staying in this country permanently, some of them aren't. It's interesting for me to see what type of visas they have and what type of arrangements they have for staying in this country if they're not actually born in this country. It's interesting for me to talk sometimes about movies and foods and things like this, and clubbing and cinema. And it's nice to see all the guys that are interested in me. I have a lot of guys interested in me. I'm highly popular on Badoo, which is good that Badoo actually shows you your popularity rating. I'm often very high. I wasn't the other day. I was like lower than I've ever been, but it came back up again. I'm not so bothered. I don't have to be high popularity. It doesn't matter to me. But it's nice when people compliment you. I had a guy on Badoo tonight complimenting me, saying, "Oh, you're cute. I just want to let you know you're cute," which is really nice. I've had guys saying you're beautiful. I've had a lot of guys saying stuff like that to me, so that's really nice. But it's quite weird when on Badoo it says people nearby, and it's so freaky when you actually bump into these people in real life without even knowing it. And you're like, "Oh, I've seen you on the Badoo dating app." So that's quite freaky. It's a good feature because you're more able to get someone near you. But it's freaky when you see someone off the app and you think, "I've met them in person." Like I said, this Pakistani guy, 22-year-old Pakistani guy, I actually shook his best friend's hand, who was 23 years old. I'd already previously matched with him on Badoo and didn't realise it. And it's the same guy from the dating app that I matched before I even went to club. So I actually like his friend before I liked him. It's funny. His younger friend, well, a slightly older friend, 23, not the older guy that was in his 30s the other day that I kissed. So who's also his friend. But yeah, so I would say, if you're an asexual that can understand when sexuals are lying, not telling the truth, and you can read between the lines, you're not an asexual that takes everything literally. Because if you take everything literally and they're like, "Oh, I'll be your friend," you're going to get hurt. You have to understand when they say, "I'm going to be your friend," it usually means friends with benefits in some way, either sexually or emotionally for them. It usually doesn't mean just friends, as in a proper friendship. And it's a sad that there's a lack of quality guys on there, a lack of guys that really want a serious committed relationship and that don't just want something casual. It seems like the majority want something casual. A lot of them are avoidance on there, so they're avoiding getting into an actual relationship. They're avoiding emotional intimacy. They're avoiding deep connection. And as an asexual person, we love usually for a deep emotional connection. So if that isn't present, we can't really love the person, and there's a disconnect from them. And so that's really difficult. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this discussion on dating apps. I think it is worth giving them a go. Every dating app's different. Like I said, I got rid of Tammy because that was far too sexual for me. I just didn't like it. I don't want to see dick pics and stuff like that they allow on there. And so, yeah, Badoo.com is worth a shot. Facebook dating's worth a shot. But just remember, the majority want to hook up for sex, if not all of them. Nearly all of them want to hook up for sex. But on Badoo, there is an asexual option, so not everyone completely wants sex on there. And because you've got that asexual option, it is a little bit better in that way. But I found more people who I'm aesthetically attracted to on Facebook dating, and who I've got more in common with, often the majority of the time. But anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And give this thumbs up. Give this thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And never miss an episode again. Hit that bell icon after you subscribed, because that will give you notifications of every time I go live. Like now, I'll post a new video. And don't forget to get Asexual Perspectives book on Amazon, which talks about love, life, and sex from an asexual point of view, and it includes relationships in there as well. So lots of love to you. Take care. Bye. Thanks for the thumbs up. Love you lots. Bye.